There are many reasons on why someone might consider switching over to Linux. For some it's curiosity, for others it's to get away from Windows' annoyances and constant advertisements. Not to mention Windows seemingly getting worse in general. However, while Linux does generally offer better privacy, simply because it doesn't really track you in the first place and does not require an online account to be connected in order to use your PC, something that many people don't really think about is their online data. Sure, you might be careful not to give platforms more data than they need, but still, this can be scary. A couple of years ago, on a random Thursday, one of my email addresses started receiving hundreds of spam and phishing emails a day. I didn't really know where they came from, because I wasn't using that address for anything anymore. But what definitely was interesting to me was that very often the sender addresses try to represent people I know, friends, relatives and similar contacts. The problem? Well, with this email I never contacted any of them, nor did I receive emails from them. So my email address was not really associated with them. Yet because of online data collection, this proved that your identity can be tracked and potentially exploited. And very often you don't even know it. Extensions like the HTTP graph collector show who is watching you when you accept cookies on a website, for example. The more websites you browse, the more connections you will see. Then pair that with the information you enter on websites. You like to buy things online? You enter your full name, address, telephone number, email and much more. Things that are often considered minor, especially since they are required to consume these services, of course. But is that really something that should just be accepted? The example of my email address getting bombarded out of the blue is a good illustration of what can happen when personal data is exposed through data leaks, data sharing or other forms of online tracking. And it's worse than someone randomly finding an email address. Being able to cross-match that with your identity, known contacts, and are trying to abuse that information is on another level. So what can you do to reduce your digital footprint on the internet in order to prevent something like this from happening to you? Well, a lot actually. Like I already mentioned, you could switch to Linux, since many of its distributions are local-first operating systems. That means that you don't need a Microsoft account, where you have to enter your name, email address and phone number. Any collected telemetry, if it is even transmitted at all, is often anonymous, and it is usually disabled on most distributions anyway. And you can call your user account whatever you want. Another quick win is to simply not accept all cookies when opening up a website. Sure, it might be one or even a couple of clicks more to allow only essential ones, but it is definitely worth it if you want to reduce your web footprint. Also consider your browser settings. The cookie banner is one thing, but your browser can also block some cookies from being sent to external entities, even if you accept it all. If you want to limit cookie exposure, simply adjusting your browser settings to strict or setting it to block third-party cookies, depending on the available options, as well as enabling the Do Not Track request setting, can help to reduce the impact. The older version of the browser extension Disconnect visualized this very well, making it another quick way to reduce your data exposure. And then there are, of course, data brokers. Data brokers collect personal data about people, public records, online activities, purchases, and essentially everything else that can be used to fingerprint you and your preferences. Why are they doing this? Well, it's because advertisers pay them for this information, since targeted ads usually yield better results, because people tend to buy more. Now, on paper, this actually sounds like a good idea. You get advertisements for products that you might need or find interesting, and the seller knows what you want, so they can make special offers for you. In reality, however, this system is often abused in the opposite way. And like I already mentioned, if that data gets leaked or if some entity abuses data brokers to obtain your information, then this could result in a huge intrusion into your privacy. Or even worse, an attempt to abuse systems using your data if the malicious entity has enough of it. While you cannot fully get rid of all the data on the internet, since some of it is required to run certain services, what you can do is to contact these data brokers and ask them to delete your data. And this is where today's sponsor comes in. Incogni is a tool that helps you automatically remove your personal data from over 420 data brokers and people search sites. What makes Incogni special is its philosophy of if they can't find you, they can't harm you. In other words, the less exposed your data is online, the less likely it is to be exploited. Here's how it works. You can choose between 5 plans. Standard starts at $7.99 a month on the annual plan. Unlimited runs at $14.99 a month and adds custom removals plus a personal risk assessment. There is also Incogni Protect at $20.74 a month for US customers only, which layers on identity restoration support and monitoring on top of everything that Unlimited offers. And if you want to cover your family, Family and Family Unlimited are also priced at $20.74 a month for up to 5 people. All plans are of course backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. Right now, you can get 60% off any annual plan by using code Michael60 or the link in the video description down below. Let's take a look at it. The setup process is really simple. Once you sign up using an email address, you'll get a setup link where you fill in the information that lets Incogni identify you across potential data broker sites. Read and accept the agreement covering how it operates under GDPR, CCPA or PIPEDA, and it gets to work right away. On the dashboard, you get an overview of the removal requests Incogni's removal engine has sent to the data brokers holding your data. How many have complied, which ones agreed to stop collecting your data going forward, and which ones are a bit slower to get the message. Yeah, some data brokers just take a bit longer to respond, but the good news is that generally you don't have to do anything except wait. Incogni's removal engine is what powers all of this behind the scenes. It's the system that submits, tracks and automatically resubmits removal requests at a scale that manual processes just cannot match. It also gives you details on the brokers themselves, who their target audiences are, what data they typically collect and what risks they could create. To be clear, the risk is not necessarily that those brokers are insecure. It's more that the more places your data resides in, the more chances there are for it to leak or be misused. Removal requests are sent on your behalf under privacy laws like GDPR, CCPA and PIPEDA, depending on where you live. And they don't stop after the first request. Incogni automatically resubmits them on a recurring basis if a broker relists your data. So it's not a one and done effort, but an ongoing one. So what is the actual difference between the standard plans and the unlimited tier ones? The standard plans cover automated removal requests across Incogni's broker network. The unlimited tier plans, so Unlimited Protect and Family Unlimited, also add custom data removals. Here's how they work. The exposure scanner searches broadly across the web for your exposed data, shows you what it found, and lets you decide with a click or two what you want handled. From there, Incogni's removal specialists, the team with the access to work directly with broker systems, take it and get to work. So if you know of a specific website exposing your data that the standard scan might have missed, this is how you go after it directly. So now that we've covered what Incogni is and what it does, the question now is it worth it? Especially since signing up means handing over some personal data, so Incogni can go do the scanning in the first place. Seems a bit counterintuitive, right? Honestly, it kind of depends on how seriously you take your privacy and how much time you're willing to spend doing this yourself. Data brokers don't always make it easy to opt out. Each one has its own process, and the data tends to come back over time. A hardcore Linux privacy enthusiast who takes privacy very seriously would probably try contacting these data brokers manually if they know their information is out there, but it's tedious. It's ongoing work, not a one-time task. The questions that are much more important here are: do you trust them, and are you willing to share some of your data in order to reduce a bigger exposure problem later? Incogni operates under strict compliance policies, and its practices have been independently checked. Deloitte conducted an independent assurance assessment confirming that Incogni sends removal requests to over 420 data brokers, resubmits those requests on a recurring basis so the data doesn't quietly reappear, and doesn't sell customer data. Incogni has also processed more than 245 million removal requests on their customers' behalf, according to that same assessment. Its Trustpilot score of 4.3 at the time of recording this video also speaks in favor of this service, and it has won Editor's Choice Awards from PC Mag, PC World and CDNet. Many are of course skeptical of data removal services, and I get why. But I think that calling them a scam is a bit much. Given that its process has been independently verified, I'd say that it meaningfully reduces your data exposure. Whether that's worth it to you personally depends on how much peace of mind that's worth. But then again, if you're careful not to expose too much data to the internet in the first place, like if you start rejecting unnecessary cookies, adjust your browser settings, or perhaps even use a browser that already prioritizes privacy, then it might be less essential to you. It really comes down to your own privacy goals and how much time you want to spend managing this yourself, instead of just handing it off. In today's video, we've covered a couple of ways on how to tighten up your online privacy, reduce your digital footprint, and proactively work against potential data leaks. Whether that is by switching operating systems, using different browser settings, or utilizing data removal services like Incogni. So what I'd like to know now is, are you applying any of these, or are you not concerned about any of this at all? I would be very interested to hear about your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Before I end this video, I quickly wanted to mention that if you want to support the channel and make even better videos, then please feel free to check out our membership program, our online shop, where each sale helps to fund various open source projects, or today's sponsor Incogni. Thanks again to Incogni for sponsoring this video. It genuinely helps the channel keep making videos for all of you. If you've liked this video, then please make sure to show it with a like, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you do not miss out on any future videos just like this one. I hope that you had a blast watching and that I get to see you again really soon. But in the meantime, all that's left to say now is good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. I'll see you around.